Before you judge me, please understand that I didn't mean it the way it sounded. Yes, I told my husband I was bisexual. Yes, I told him his sister was my type. Yes, I said it during an argument when I was trying to make a point. But I didn't mean it literally. I didn't mean I actually wanted to be with his sister. I was trying to be honest about my sexuality, trying to express myself, trying to make him understand that I'm a complex person with complex attractions. I thought he'd understand. I thought we could have an adult conversation about it. Instead, he looked at me with this calm, terrifying expression and said, "If you get to flirt with my sister, I get to invite your brother." And that's how I ended up sitting at a restaurant table with my husband on one side and my brother on the other, both of them staring at me with expressions ranging from disgust to disappointment to pure fury. That's how my attempt at honesty turned into the most humiliating night of my life. I'm writing this from my childhood bedroom. Yes, I'm back living with my parents at 32 years old, trying to make sense of how everything fell apart so quickly, trying to understand how one conversation destroyed my marriage, my relationship with my brother, and my sense of self all in the span of a few hours. Everyone wants to know what I was thinking, what possessed me to say what I said, how I could be so thoughtless, so reckless, so stupid. So here's the whole story, my side of it, the truth that everyone seems to be ignoring in their rush to condemn me. My husband's name is Derek. We've been married for 4 years, together for 6. We met in grad school, both of us getting our master's degrees in business administration, both ambitious and career-focused, both thinking we'd found our perfect match. Derek was smart, driven, attractive, from a good family, everything I thought I wanted. The relationship moved fast. We were engaged within a year, married 6 months after that. Everyone said we were perfect together, the power couple, the ones who had it all figured out. But what nobody saw, what I didn't even fully acknowledge to myself until recently, was that I'd been suppressing parts of myself to fit into the life we were building. I've known I was bisexual since college. It wasn't some shocking revelation or crisis. I just knew I was attracted to people regardless of gender. I'd dated women before Derek, had meaningful relationships with them, never hid it from friends or family. My first serious relationship in college was with a woman named Maya. We dated for almost 2 years. She was brilliant, funny, made me feel seen in ways I'd never experienced before. When we broke up, she graduated a year before me and moved across the country for grad school. I was devastated. It took me months to recover. After Maya, I dated casually, both men and women. Never hid my bisexuality, never felt ashamed of it. It was just part of who I was, like being left-handed or having green eyes. My parents knew, my friends knew, everyone in my life accepted it without issue. But when I met Derek, when we started getting serious, something shifted. Derek was everything I thought I wanted after the chaos of my early 20s. Stable, successful, mature. He had a clear career path, a 5-year plan, goals that aligned with mine. He was attractive in a conventional way, tall, fit, well-dressed, the kind of man you could bring home to your parents without any explanations or complications. And he was interested in me, pursued me, made me feel special and wanted, and like I was making a smart choice by choosing him. So when we started dating exclusively, when it became clear this was heading towards something serious, I just stopped talking about my bisexuality. Not because Derek asked me to, not because he was homophobic or anything like that. He never said a single negative thing about LGBTQ+ people. He had gay friends, supported equal rights, seemed perfectly liberal and accepting. I stopped talking about it because it felt easier to present as straight in the context of our relationship, easier to fit into the narrative of the successful heterosexual couple building a traditional life together, easier to avoid questions from his more conservative family members about my past or my preferences. I told myself it didn't matter. I was with Derek. I loved Derek. I was committed to Derek. My bisexuality was just a part of my past, not relevant to my present or future. I was in a monogamous, heterosexual relationship now. Why would I need to keep bringing up my attraction to women? But it did matter, and the longer I suppressed it, the more it bothered me. I'd be at parties and notice an attractive woman and immediately feel guilty for noticing, like I was somehow betraying Derek by acknowledging that other women existed and were beautiful. I'd see posts on social media about Bisexual Visibility Day or Pride Month and feel this weird disconnect. Like I was bisexual in theory, but not in practice. Like I'd given up my membership card when I married a man. I stopped mentioning my past relationships with women. When Derek asked about my exes, I'd mention the men I'd dated, but skip over Maya and the others. Not lying exactly, just omitting. Making my romantic history sound simpler and more conventional than it actually was. His family definitely didn't know. When they asked about my past relationships, I kept it vague. I dated some people in college, nothing serious until Derek. Technically true, but missing huge chunks of context. And it started eating at me, this feeling that I was hiding, that I was living a lie, that Derek didn't really know me because he didn't know this fundamental part of my identity. I'd see my wedding photos and think, I'm bisexual, and nobody at my wedding knew that. I stood up there in front of everyone and promised to be Derek's wife, but nobody knew that I was also attracted to women, that I'd loved women, that this was a part of me I'd carefully tucked away for the sake of appearances. It felt like I was slowly erasing myself, like I was becoming just Derek's wife instead of a full person with a complex identity and history. I started feeling resentful, not of Derek specifically, but of the situation I'd put myself in. The closet I'd built for myself, out of convenience and conformity. I'd think, why should I have to hide this? Why should my bisexuality become invisible just because I married a man? Straight people don't stop being straight when they get married. Why should I stop being bi? But I never said any of this to Derek. Never had an honest conversation about how I was feeling. Never gave him a chance to understand or support me. I just let the resentment build. Let the feeling of invisibility grow. Let the sense that I was living a lie consume me. And then I decided, with zero preparation or thought about consequences, that I needed to tell him. To be honest, to reclaim this part of my identity, even within the context of my marriage. But I picked the worst possible moment, and I said it in the worst possible way. Looking back now, I can see that I was angry. Not at Derek specifically, but at myself for hiding, at society for making it feel necessary to hide, at the situation where my bisexuality had become this invisible thing. And I took that anger out on Derek by weaponizing my confession. The conversation started innocuously enough. We were having dinner at home on a Wednesday night. Derek was talking about his coworker, a woman named Sarah who'd apparently been flirting with him at the office. He was telling me about it in that oblivious way men do when they don't realize someone is flirting with them. She keeps bringing me coffee in the morning, he said, and she laughs at all my jokes, even the ones that aren't funny. She's into you, I said, half paying attention while scrolling through my phone. You think? I just thought she was being friendly. Derek, she's definitely flirting. Women don't bring coffee to men they're not interested in. Should I be worried about you being jealous? He asked, with that teasing tone that usually made me laugh. But for some reason, that night it irritated me. I'm not jealous, I said. I trust you. I just think it's funny that you're so oblivious to when women are hitting on you. Are you saying you'd notice more than I would? Obviously, women are more attuned to social cues. Or maybe you just think everyone is flirting with me, Derek said, still teasing. And then, I don't know what possessed me, I said, actually, I'd probably notice if women were flirting with me too. The energy in the room shifted slightly. What do you mean? Derek asked. And instead of just explaining it simply, instead of having a calm conversation, I doubled down. I mean, I'm bisexual. I'm attracted to women too. I thought you knew that. Derek put down his fork. No, I didn't know that. You've never mentioned that in the 6 years we've been together. I told you I dated women in college. You said you had a few female friends in college who you were close with. You never said you dated them. You never said you were bisexual. Well, I am. I have been my whole life. It's just not something that comes up much when you're in a heterosexual marriage. Derek was quiet for a long moment, processing. I should have left it there. Should have given him time to absorb this information. Should have approached the whole conversation with more sensitivity and care. But I was feeling defensive, feeling like I needed to prove my point, feeling like he wasn't taking me seriously. So I kept going. I'm still attracted to women, I said. That doesn't just go away because I'm married. It's who I am. Okay, Derek said carefully. I'm trying to understand. Are you saying you want to open our marriage? What? No, I'm just being honest about my identity. But you're saying you're still attracted to other people, specifically women, while being married to me. Everyone is attracted to other people sometimes. That doesn't mean they act on it. Right, but you're making a point of telling me about it. So what's the point? What am I supposed to do with this information? And that's when I made my biggest mistake. I wanted to make him understand that my attraction to women was real, valid, not just some theoretical thing from my past. I wanted to make it concrete in a way he couldn't dismiss. So I looked at him and said, like, for example, your sister is totally my type. The words hung in the air. Derek's expression went completely blank. Excuse me, he said quietly. Your sister, Claire. She's attractive. She's exactly the kind of woman I'd be interested in if I were single. I said it casually, like I was commenting on the weather, like I was just providing an example to illustrate my point. I genuinely didn't think it would be a big deal. I thought I was just being honest, just explaining my sexuality in concrete terms he could understand. I was so wrong. Derek stood up from the table, not dramatically, not angrily, just calmly stood up, picked up his plate, walked to the sink. Derek, I said, are you upset? He didn't answer, just rinsed his plate with mechanical precision, placed it in the dishwasher, closed the dishwasher door. Then he turned to me with an expression I'd never seen before. Completely neutral, unreadable, cold. I need to think, he said. He walked to our bedroom. I heard him moving around, opening drawers, closing them. I followed him to the doorway. Derek, talk to me. I didn't mean to upset you. You told me my sister is your type, he said, still not looking at me. He was pulling on different clothes, getting dressed like he was getting ready to go somewhere. I was just giving an example. An example of what? Of who you want to sleep with? No, an example of my attraction to women being real and current, not just something from my past. Using my sister. I was just trying to be honest. He laughed. It was not a happy laugh. Honest, right. He grabbed his wallet, his keys. Get dressed, we're going out. What? Where? Just get dressed, put on something nice. We're going to dinner. Derek, I don't think that's a good idea right now. I'm not asking. His voice was still calm. Too calm. Get dressed. Now. Something in his tone made me comply. I went to the bedroom, changed into a nice dress, put on makeup, still completely confused about what was happening. Was he taking me out to talk about this? To work through it? Was this his way of trying to reconnect? I came out to find him waiting by the door, car keys in hand. Ready? He asked. Derek, can we just talk about this here? No, get in the car. The drive was silent. Derek's jaw was clenched, his hands tight on the steering wheel, eyes fixed straight ahead. I tried multiple times to break the silence. I'm sorry if what I said upset you. Nothing. I wasn't trying to say I actually want your sister. Still, nothing. Can you please just talk to me? We'll talk at dinner, he said. The first words he'd spoken in 15 minutes. He pulled up to a restaurant downtown. Nice place, the kind we went to for special occasions. Definitely not the kind of place for a tense conversation about sexuality and boundaries. He got out of the car, came around to my side, opened my door for me like a gentleman. That should have been my first warning that something was very wrong. Derek only did the exaggerated chivalry thing when he was being passive-aggressive. We walked into the restaurant. He gave his name to the host. He'd apparently made a reservation while I was getting dressed. The host led us to a booth in the back, more private than the main dining area. "Why did you pick such a fancy place?" I asked as we sat down. "I thought the occasion warranted it," Derek said cryptically. "What occasion?" "You'll see." We ordered drinks. The awkwardness was suffocating. I kept trying to start the conversation, to apologize properly, to explain myself. But Derek kept checking his phone, looking toward the entrance, clearly waiting for something. "Derek, what's going on?" "Just be patient." I sipped my wine, trying to calm my nerves. The restaurant was nice. Exposed brick walls, dim lighting, quiet jazz playing in the background. The kind of place we came to for anniversaries, for celebrations. Why had he brought me here? What was he planning? And then I saw him, my brother. Walking into the restaurant, looking confused and uncomfortable, searching for someone. Derek stood up and waved him over. My stomach dropped to the floor. "What is he doing here?" I asked, my voice shaking. "I invited him," Derek said calmly, sitting back down. "Sit down." My brother, his name is Jason. He's 2 years older than me, works in finance, married with 2 kids, reached our table looking bewildered. "Derek, what's this about? You said it was urgent." He stopped when he saw me, his confusion deepening. "What's going on? Are you guys okay?" "Sit down," Derek said, gesturing to the seat across from me. "We need to have a family conversation." "Derek, no," I started, panic rising in my chest. "Sit down." Derek's voice was still calm, but with an edge that made it clear he was not negotiating. An edge I'd never heard before in 4 years of marriage. Jason sat slowly, looking between us with growing alarm. "Seriously, what's happening? You're freaking me out. Is someone sick? Is something wrong?" "That's what I'm trying to find out," Derek said. He turned to me, his expression neutral, but his eyes cold. "Tell him what you told me tonight." My face went hot. My hand started shaking. "Derek, please." "Tell him. Or I will." Jason was looking at me now, concerned and confused. "Tell me what? What did you say?" I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up completely. I could feel my heartbeat in my ears. The waiter approached our table, sensed the tension, started to ask if we needed more time with the menus. Derek waved him away without looking at him. "She's having trouble finding the words," Derek said to Jason. "So I'll help. Your sister informed me tonight that she's bisexual, which is fine. I want to be clear, I have absolutely no problem with bisexuality. But then she decided to illustrate her point by telling me that my sister, her sister-in-law Claire, is totally her type." The look on Jason's face was something I'll never forget. Shock, disgust, confusion, disappointment, all cycling across his features in rapid succession. "She what?" he said, his voice rising slightly. "She said Claire is her type." Said it casually, like she was commenting on the weather. Just thought I should know that she's attracted to my sister. "I didn't mean it like that." I finally found my voice, though it came out strangled and desperate. "I was just trying to explain." "Explain what?" Jason demanded, leaning forward. "That you're sexually attracted to his sister? What the hell is wrong with you?" I was trying to make him understand that my bisexuality is real and current. Bisexualizing his sister? Jason looked at me like he didn't recognize me. His family member, someone who probably trusts you. Are you insane? "That's not what I was doing." "Then what were you doing?" Derek asked, his calm facade finally cracking slightly. His voice was harder now, sharper. Because from where I'm sitting, you told your husband, that you're attracted to his sister, his actual sister, the woman who babysits our nephews, the woman who comes to our house for holidays and game nights and family dinners. I was giving an example. A really messed up example, Jason interrupted. Who does that? Who thinks that's appropriate? Who thinks it's okay to tell their spouse they're attracted to their sibling? I'm allowed to acknowledge attraction. Not to your husband's sister. Jason was raising his voice now, not quite yelling but louder than the quiet restaurant ambiance. Several people at nearby tables were starting to glance over, trying to figure out what was happening at our table. There are boundaries. There are things you don't say, things you don't think, and if you do think them, you definitely don't say them. I felt like I was shrinking, getting smaller and smaller in my seat, wishing I could disappear entirely. Exactly, Derek said, his voice returning to that dangerous calm. So I thought, if she gets to casually mention being attracted to my family members, then I should get to do the same. Fair is fair, right? Which is why you're here. Jason looked at him, still confused about his role in all this. What do you mean? Derek leaned back in his chair, taking a sip of his whiskey, looking at Jason thoughtfully. Jason, I need to tell you something. Your sister is extremely attractive. In fact, she's exactly my type. Physically, I find her very appealing. If I weren't married to her, I'd definitely be interested in pursuing her. Jason's face twisted in disgust. Dude, what the... Oh, wait, Derek continued as if he'd just realized something. That's weird, isn't it? Me talking about your sister that way. Me specifically pointing out that I find her sexually attractive, even though we're related by marriage, even though she's family. That makes you uncomfortable, doesn't it? Yes, obviously. But why? Derek asked, his voice mock innocent. I'm just being honest about my attraction. I'm just acknowledging that your sister is beautiful. Isn't that what she said? That she was just being honest? Stop it, Jason said, his voice firm. His jaw was clenched. Why should I stop? She thinks it's fine to talk about my sister. So clearly, talking about each other's family members in sexual terms is acceptable in this marriage. Actually, let me go further. He pulled out his phone, started typing. I should probably message a few of your female cousins too. Let them know they're attractive. Just being honest, you know. Derek, please. I was crying now, tears streaming down my face, my voice breaking. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't think about how it would sound. You didn't think, period, he said coldly, putting his phone back in his pocket. He hadn't actually sent anything, I realized. He was just making a point. You were so focused on proving your point, on shocking me, on making yourself the center of attention, that you didn't consider how inappropriate it was, how hurtful, how utterly disrespectful. The waiter approached again, clearly assigned to our table and unable to avoid it any longer. Can I get you folks started with some appetizers? His voice was uncertain, his eyes darting between our three faces. We're not staying, Derek said, not looking at him. Actually, sir, you reserved this table for 2 hours, and I'm releasing it early. Keep the reservation fee. Derek pulled out his wallet, placed $200 bills on the table. For your trouble. The waiter took the money and disappeared quickly, clearly wanting nothing to do with whatever drama was unfolding. I think you need help, Jason said to me, his voice quiet now but firm, final. I don't know what's going on with you, but this isn't normal behavior. This isn't okay. This isn't something a mentally healthy person does. I was just being honest about my sexuality. No, Derek corrected sharply. You were using your sexuality as a weapon. You wanted to shock me. You wanted a reaction. You wanted to win whatever argument you thought we were having. And you chose the most hurtful, inappropriate way possible to do it. You weaponized something that should have been a moment of vulnerability and honesty. That's not, isn't it? He leaned forward now, his voice intense. Think about it. Really think about it. You could have just told me you were bisexual. That would have been fine. We could have had a mature conversation about it. I would have listened. I would have supported you. But instead, you specifically mentioned my sister. My little sister, who I've protected since she was born. You made it personal. You made it about someone in my life who I love and who trusts me to protect her from exactly this kind of thing. I had no response because he was right. He was completely right. Every word was true. I think you need help, Jason said to me, his voice quiet but firm. I don't know what's going on with you, but this isn't normal behavior. This isn't okay. I was just being honest about my sexuality. No, you were using your sexuality as a weapon, Derek corrected. You wanted to shock me. You wanted a reaction. You wanted to win whatever argument you thought we were having. And you chose the most hurtful, inappropriate way possible to do it. That's not, isn't it? He leaned forward. Think about it. You could have just told me you were bisexual. That would have been fine. We could have had a mature conversation about it. But instead, you specifically mentioned my sister. You made it personal. You made it about someone in my life who I love and who trusts me to protect her from exactly this kind of thing. I had no response because he was right. He was completely right. I had wanted to shock him. I had wanted to make it concrete and undeniable. I had wanted to prove that my attraction to women wasn't just theoretical, but I'd chosen the absolute worst way to do it. How would you feel, Derek asked, if I told you right now that I was attracted to your best friend, or your mother, or your cousin? How would that make you feel? I felt sick. I would hate it. Exactly. So why did you think it was okay to do it to me? I didn't have an answer. Jason stood up. I'm leaving. I don't want any part of this. Wait, Derek said. One more thing. He looked at me. If you think it's appropriate to share your sexual fantasies about my family members, then your family should hear about them too. Jason, your sister has been fantasizing about my sister Claire, thinking about her, considering her type. I thought you should know what kind of thoughts she's having about people in our family. Derek, stop! I was sobbing now, fully breaking down. Jason looked at me with pure disappointment. Get help, he said again. Then he walked out of the restaurant. Derek stood up, pulled out his wallet, placed enough cash on the table to cover drinks we hadn't even finished. Enjoy your dinner, he said to me. You wanted to mix families and sexualities and boundaries. Here you go. You can sit with the consequences. Derek, please. But he was already walking away, out of the restaurant, leaving me alone at the table, hyperventilating, mascara running down my face, aware of the stares from nearby tables. I sat there for, I don't know how long, 10 minutes, 20, 30. Other diners were definitely staring now. A woman sitting alone at a table, sobbing, mascara running, clearly having just been abandoned by whoever she'd come with. I imagined what they were thinking, that I'd been dumped, that I'd done something terrible, that I deserved whatever had just happened. They were right. I had done something terrible. I did deserve this. Eventually, a waitress, not our waiter, a different one, approached cautiously. Ma'am, do you need anything? No, I managed. I'm leaving. I stood up on shaky legs, grabbed my purse, walked through the restaurant with my head down, feeling every eye on me. Pushed through the door into the cool night air and immediately started crying harder. I pulled out my phone to call an Uber. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely type the address. While I waited, I tried calling Derek, straight to voicemail, like he'd turned off his phone the moment he left the restaurant. I tried texting. Please, can we talk? I'm so sorry. Please come home. The message showed as delivered but not read. I tried calling Jason to apologize, to explain, to somehow make him understand. He declined the call immediately. Then I got a text. Don't contact me right now. I need space. What you did was messed up and I can't deal with you right now. The Uber arrived. The driver took one look at my tear-stained face and wisely didn't attempt small talk. When I got home, to the apartment Derek and I shared, filled with our things, our life together, I found his car gone from its usual spot. Inside, the apartment was exactly as we'd left it, my abandoned dinner plate still on the table, his chair pushed back from where he'd stood up. The whole conversation had happened less than 3 hours ago, but it felt like a lifetime. I tried calling Derek again, voicemail again. I sat on our couch and cried until I couldn't cry anymore, until I was just dry heaving with nothing left to come out. Around midnight, my phone buzzed. For a moment, I hoped it was Derek, ready to talk, ready to work through this. It wasn't. It was Claire, Derek's sister, the woman I'd so carelessly sexualized. The message was short. Derek told me what you said. I feel violated and uncomfortable. Please don't contact me. I need space to process that someone I trusted, someone I considered family, was apparently thinking about me in that way. I don't know if I can ever feel comfortable around you again. The nausea hit me so hard I had to run to the bathroom. I threw up the little bit of wine I'd managed to drink at the restaurant, then dry heaved some more, sitting on the bathroom floor, shaking. I'd hurt Claire, sweet, kind Claire who'd welcomed me into their family, who'd helped me pick out my wedding dress, who babysat our nephews and invited me to girls' nights and treated me like a real sister. I'd sexualized her, made her uncomfortable in her own family, destroyed her sense of safety around me, all because I wanted to prove a point to Derek. I pulled myself off the bathroom floor eventually, washed my face, looked at myself in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. Who had I become? When had I become someone who would hurt people I claimed to love just to win an argument? I went back to the couch, wrapped myself in a blanket, and waited for Derek to come home. He didn't. Not that night, not the next day, not the day after that. It's been 2 weeks now since that dinner. Derek is still staying with his brother. He's responding to my texts with 1 or 2 word answers. He won't agree to meet in person, won't talk on the phone, just sends brief updates. I'm okay. Still need space. Not ready to talk. His family has completely cut me off. Claire blocked me on all social media. His mother called once to say in a cold voice, "I don't know what you were thinking, but you've hurt my daughter deeply. You're not welcome at family gatherings until further notice. Derek will let you know what he decides about the marriage." His brother sent me a text. "You crossed a line. Derek is devastated. I don't know if he'll get past this." Jason is barely speaking to me. When he does respond to my texts, it's terse. "I need time. What you did was inappropriate. You should see a therapist." My parents are disappointed and confused. They know I'm bisexual. I came out to them years ago, but they can't understand why I would mention Derek's sister. "What were you thinking?" my mother keeps asking. "Why would you say that?" My father was more blunt. "You sabotaged your own marriage. Derek is a good man, and you're throwing away a good marriage over wanting to shock him." My best friend Melissa came over a few days after the incident. She listened to everything, then said, "What you did was really messed up. You weaponized your sexuality. You used your coming out as a way to hurt Derek. You made it about his sister specifically because you knew it would get a reaction." "I wasn't trying to hurt him." "Then why did you say it? Why specifically mention Claire?" "I wanted him to take me seriously. I wanted him to understand my bisexuality wasn't just theoretical. By making it about someone he loves, someone he's protective of." She was right. I knew she was right. Derek came home 3 hours later. I was sitting on the couch, still crying, still trying to process everything. "Where were you?" I asked. "At my parents' house, explaining to my sister why she might want to avoid you for a while." My stomach lurched. "You told Claire?" "Of course I told Claire. She has a right to know that her sister-in-law views her as a potential sexual partner. She has a right to know that she's not safe from that kind of attention in her own family. I never said I wanted to pursue her. I never said..." You said she was your type, you sexualized her, you made her an object of your attraction. That's enough. He sat down across from me, exhausted. I can't do this, he said quietly. Can't do what? This marriage? I can't be married to someone who thinks it's okay to talk about my family members that way. Who thinks that's normal or acceptable or just being honest? Derek, no. I'm staying at my brother's place tonight, and probably for the foreseeable future. We need space while I figure out what to do. Please don't leave. Please let me fix this. How? How do you fix this? You've made my sister uncomfortable in her own family. You've destroyed my trust. You've shown me that you'll say anything, hurt anyone, cross any boundary if it means making your point. How do you fix that? I had no answer. He stood up, grabbed a bag he'd apparently already packed. Derek, I need you to understand something, he said from the doorway. Your bisexuality isn't the problem. If you'd just told me you were bisexual, we could have talked about it, worked through it. It would have been fine. But you weaponized it. You used it to hurt me. You made it about my sister to shock me, and that's not something I can forgive. Then he left, and I was alone with what I'd done. It's been 2 weeks. Derek is still staying with his brother. He's responding to my texts with one-word answers. He won't agree to meet in person. His family has completely cut me off. Claire blocked me on all social media. His mother left me a voicemail saying I was no longer welcome at family gatherings. Jason is barely speaking to me. When he does, it's just to tell me I need therapy. That what I did was profoundly inappropriate and deeply concerning. My own parents are disappointed but confused. They know I'm bisexual. I came out to them years ago. But they can't understand why I would mention Derek's sister. What were you thinking? My mother keeps asking. Why would you say that? And I keep trying to explain. I was trying to be honest. I was trying to make him understand. I was trying to prove that my sexuality was real and valid. But the more I say it, the more I realize how hollow it sounds. Because Derek was right. I wasn't just being honest. I was trying to shock him. I was trying to win an argument by saying the most provocative thing I could think of. And I chose to sexualize his sister because I knew it would get a reaction. I told myself I was being authentic, expressing myself, reclaiming my identity. But really, I was being selfish and reckless and thoughtless. I could have said I'm attracted to women without specifying which women. I could have kept it theoretical, general, not targeted at someone in his family. But I didn't. I made it personal. I made it about Claire. And now I'm paying the price. My best friend came over yesterday, listened to the whole story, sighed deeply. What were you thinking? She asked. I don't know, I admitted. I thought I was being honest. You were being hurtful, she interrupted. There's a difference. You can be honest without being cruel. You can express your sexuality without sexualizing people in your husband's family. I know that now. Did you really not know it then? Did you really not realize how inappropriate it was while you were saying it? I thought about it, really thought about it. Maybe I did, I admitted. Maybe part of me knew it would hurt him. Maybe I wanted it to hurt him because I was mad that he wasn't taking me seriously. So you sabotaged your own marriage to prove a point. Put that way, it sounded even worse. I didn't mean to sabotage it. But you did, and now you need to figure out if there's any way to fix it. Though honestly, I don't know if there is. You crossed a line that most people can't uncross. She was right. I knew she was right. I'd damaged my marriage, possibly beyond repair, because I couldn't just have a simple, honest conversation, because I needed to be dramatic and provocative and shocking, because I couldn't just say, I'm bisexual and I wanted you to know, without adding, and by the way, I'm attracted to your sister. Derek agreed to meet me yesterday, at a coffee shop, neutral territory, with time limits and boundaries. He looked tired, sad, older than he had 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry, I said immediately. I'm so sorry. I know what I said was wrong. I know I hurt you. I was thoughtless and selfish, and I wish I could take it back. Okay, he said. Is that all you're going to say? What do you want me to say? That I forgive you? That we can move past this? I want you to give me a chance to fix it. He stirred his coffee, not looking at me. I've been thinking a lot about that night, about what you said and why you said it. And I keep coming back to the same question. Were you trying to tell me something about yourself, or were you trying to hurt me? I was trying to tell you about myself. By mentioning my sister specifically, he interrupted. By making it about someone I love and trust. That wasn't just sharing information. That was a choice, a deliberate choice to make it as hurtful as possible. I wasn't thinking. That's the problem, Derek said. You weren't thinking about me. You weren't thinking about Claire. You weren't thinking about consequences. You were just thinking about yourself and what you wanted to say and how you wanted to say it. I couldn't argue because he was right. Your bisexuality isn't the problem, he continued. I want to be clear about that. If you had just told me you were bisexual, that you'd realized you needed to be more open about that part of yourself, I would have listened. I would have supported you. But you didn't just tell me. You weaponized it. You made it into something hurtful. I know. And I'm sorry. I'll apologize to Claire too. I'll do whatever it takes. Claire doesn't want to hear from you. I asked. She said she needs space to process the fact that someone she trusted, someone she considered family, was apparently thinking about her in sexual terms. The shame was overwhelming. I wasn't constantly thinking about her that way. But you were thinking about her that way enough to mention it. That's too much. That's already crossed the line. We sat in silence for a long moment. Are we over? I finally asked. Derek took a long time to answer. I don't know. I'm hurt and angry, and I don't trust you right now, and I don't know if I can get past that. But you're not saying definitely no. I'm saying I need more time, and you need to seriously think about why you did what you did. Not just apologize, but actually understand what drove you to say something so hurtful. I will. I promise I will. Good. He stood up. I'll be in touch. And then he left. Again. I've been thinking about his question. Why did I do it? Why did I specifically mention Claire? The honest answer, the one I'm ashamed to admit, is that I wanted to shock him. I wanted to prove that my bisexuality was real and current, and not just some past identity I'd outgrown. I wanted him to see me as complex and interesting, and not just the wife, but I did it in the cruelest way possible, by making someone he loves into an example, by sexualizing someone who trusted me. I told myself I was being authentic, but really, I was being selfish. I wanted attention. I wanted to be interesting. I wanted to shake up our comfortable, boring routine by revealing something shocking, and I destroyed my marriage in the process. I don't know if Derek and I will stay together. I don't know if he'll ever be able to trust me again. I don't know if I deserve another chance. What I do know is that I need to figure out why I thought what I said was acceptable, why I crossed that boundary, why I prioritized being shocking over being kind. And I need to understand that honesty without care is just cruelty with good PR. I was honest about my sexuality, but I was cruel about how I expressed it. And now I'm living with the consequences. Sitting in my childhood bedroom at 32, my marriage in ruins, my family relationships damaged, all because I wanted to prove a point. All because I said, your sister is totally my type. 6 words that destroyed everything.